When we read, when we are immersed in a fiction, we become part of that world in ways that are not entirely metaphorical. Metaphor itself turns out to be more deep-seated and fundamental to human experience than we used to think. In fact, in literary reading, we seem to simulate and emulate the people we meet there. In recent years, there have been several experiments and observations that suggest that the links between fiction and reality are not so clear-cut. If you hold a warm drink while reading a piece of literature, you're more likely to think warmly about the character in the passage. If you hold an iced drink, you're likely to feel more coldly towards them. If you sit on a hard seat rather than on a cushion, you're more likely to come to harsh judgments. Imagine how important this is when designing a bench for a jury in a courtroom. Juries on hard benches find the accused guilty more often. If you make a fist with your hand, you'll read and understand metaphors such as grasp the truth or hit the nail on the head much faster than if you sit open-handed. You don't even have to be actually doing the grasping. If you think about grasping, then you grasp a point faster. Reading about doing exercise is better for you physically than doing nothing. It's still not as good for you as actually going to the gym or doing real exercise, but it's not as bad for you as doing something mentally passive. And this seems to work more when you have to imagine the exercise yourself rather than seeing it directly in film or television. If you read a book while travelling on a bus or a train, you're more likely to have a sense of racing through the story. And the experience is even greater if you've been on the bus for a while or are near your destination. In one experiment, people were given two versions of a story that presented a romantic relationship as a journey. In one, the relationship was happy and successful. In the other, it went nowhere. The readers were then asked to throw a tennis ball some distance away in a field, and they were to walk towards it blindfolded. Those who'd read the successful romantic story walked faster and further than those who read the failed story. Even when they were asked simply to imagine doing the walking instead of actually doing it, the results were the same. When reading a violent and grotesque passage from the novel American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, readers are observed turning their faces away in disgust from the actual book in the same way as you would when turning away from a disgusting or smelly object. Readers of Charles Dickens' David Copperfield were observed squirming in their own clothes and the report feeling uncomfortable while reading passages that feature the character of Uriah Heep, a person who's always described in the novel as slimy, squirming, constantly in irritable motion. When reading a particularly sad poem about the death of the narrator's parents, most people cry in response to the poem. Likewise, most of those people cry at about the same moment in the poem. Seeing other people laugh will make you laugh. Seeing other people cry will make you cry. Reading about people crying will make you cry. And fictional sadness is just about the same as real sadness. Fictional tears are really wet. When we meet other people, other minds, we simulate their experiences. And it doesn't matter if sometimes those other people have fictional minds.